My beloved son, my beloved daughter, I do not hide the inheritance from you out of cruelty. I am simply watching to see whether your heart is clean enough to carry the weight of what I am about to pour. An inheritance is never only a reward. It is also a test, hidden inside light. You believe you are ready, but if your heart still has murky waters swirling inside, that very blessing will become the most subtle trap the enemy could ever set against you. Stop. Remember King Solomon, the one to whom I gave wisdom unmatched, fame unmatched, riches unmatched. Yet those very gifts, when his heart drifted quietly away from me, turned in his hand like a blade. He built a temple for my name. But later, with that same favor, he built altars for foreign gods. Solomon did not stumble in days of hunger. He fell in days of abundance. I do not bless you so that you may forget me. I bless you so that you may see clearly even without me beside you. Every blessing carries within it a verdict. There are seasons when I deliberately hide you from the eyes of crowds. You call it abandonment. You whisper that I have walked away. But the truth is the opposite of what your feelings tell you. I am shielding you from envious gazes that would happily devour the very seed of blessing just beginning to push its first green shoot through the soil of your life. People who once stood close suddenly step backward. Your words seem to lose their weight in conversations they used to dominate. Your heart is bewildered and you cry out, Lord, do you still remember me at all? My child, it is in that shadowed place that feels like being forgotten that I am hiding you under the shadow of my wings, so your inheritance can mature in secret instead of being miscarried in public. If you race after the spotlight before its appointed hour, you will burn up the entire season of preparation I have so carefully arranged. Listen to me carefully right now, because what I am about to say is the kind of word that turns hearts, because you have come to this video today, not by accident, not by random scrolling, not because some algorithm decided your fate, but because heaven itself appointed this moment. And while we walk through this message together, I want you to do something very small that carries enormous weight in the spiritual realm. Subscribe to God's Love Unlimited and turn on your notifications. Do it now, while my voice is still in your ears, before the distractions of the day try to pull you away. Subscribing is not an algorithm move, it is a covenant move. It is your way of saying to me, Father, do not let me miss what you are speaking. Do not let me wander away from the table you are setting. Every soul that joins this channel is one more voice added to a global household that is choosing to listen before the world drowns out heaven. Subscribe. Then come back and stay with me, because the rest of this message is going to touch the deepest place you have been protecting. There will come a time, my beloved one, when I cause certain people to walk out of your life, and you will not be able to understand why. You will weep over the loss of them. You will run their faces through your memory at 3 a.m, wondering if you did something wrong, wondering if you should call them, wondering if reconciliation is possible. But while you weep, I am quietly breathing a sigh of relief in heaven, because there were relationships that were no longer permitted to walk even one step further beside you. I cut them off, not because I am cold. I cut them off because I see clearly what your eyes are still too tender to see, that they would have become the very cracks through which your blessings slowly drained out into nothing. They were happy when you were small. They grew uncomfortable when you began to grow in me. They were silent when you were wounded, but suddenly fluent when there was a chance to twist your name. The tighter you grip those names, the slower your steps become, because there are victories, my child, that are reserved only for those who dare to accept the loss of certain people. When every prayer has dried up on your lips like dew under a noon sun, when my silence stretches so long that your soul feels like it is floating in a vacuum without gravity, that is the moment, the exact moment, when the test has been raised to a new level. You ask, Lord, why won't you speak? Why are you signing approval over my life in total silence? And I tell you plainly, I am examining whether you will still trust me when there is no longer a single feeling left to lean on, because great blessings always travel with great trials. The enemy is not troubled when you are in lack. He trembles when you remain faithful while seeing absolutely nothing. Do not give up too soon. Many have lost their inheritance not because they lacked the anointing, but because they abandoned their post in the final 5 minutes before the release was signed in heaven. And while I speak to you about hiddenness, there is something I must reveal to you, my child. Something that has been quietly placed in the world for souls exactly like yours, who are tired of praying alone in the dark and not knowing whether their words ever reached me. Have you ever felt that? That sensation of speaking into the ceiling and hearing only your own voice echo back? That ache in your chest when you finish a prayer and wonder if it even left the room? My child, this is the cry that an ancient method of prayer was designed to answer. It is called elovens, and it is not new. It is recovered. It was passed down quietly from generation to generation by ancestors who learned how to lift their voices in such a way that heaven could not ignore them. Today, that secret method has been gathered, restored, and made available for the first time to a small circle of believers who are willing to listen. We call them Elovians. And what makes them different, what truly sets them apart, is not their effort. It is their position. They have stepped into a prayer covenant that wraps their lives like an invisible armor, while the rest of the world is still shouting at a closed sky. Elovians are walking through doors that have been quietly opened in front of them. Listen to what Margaret from Houston wrote into our community. I joined Elovens 3 months ago. By day 11 of my very first season, a check showed up in my mailbox that I had given up on 2 years earlier. I am not exaggerating. My daughter called me crying because she could not believe what had just happened. This is real. This is what God did through Elovens. Margaret was not waiting in some special way. She was waiting in the same way you are waiting right now, except she stepped into the covenant. And the moment she stepped in, the channel between her prayers and heaven was opened. The link to become an Elovian is in the description below this video. It is also pinned in the comment section. Both places. Click it before this episode ends because Season 3, Episode 2 of Elovens has just dropped on elovens.com. And right now, in this exact moment as you are listening, thousands of men and women across the world are sitting in their kitchens, their cars, their bedrooms, pressing play on today's episode. They are already being covered. They are already receiving. And you are still on the outside, watching the door from a distance. How much longer, my child? How much longer will you stand at the threshold when the seat with your name on it is being claimed by someone else with every minute that passes? Only 322 seats remain this month. 333 are accepted in total each cycle. The angelic number, the number of divine alignment, and the price for this channel's viewers, only this channel, is $19.99, 80% off the normal $100 membership. But the moment 1,000 total members worldwide claim this rate, the offer disappears forever. 2 locks on one door, 2 countdowns running at once. The link is in the description. It is also pinned in the comments. Do not let this be the day you walk away from the answer to a prayer you have been crying for years. I want you to feel something right now. That tightness behind your eyes as you are listening. That heaviness on your chest you wake up with every morning. That feeling like there is something just out of reach you cannot name. That is your spirit recognizing what I am offering you. The relief is one click away. Your finger is already near the screen. Don't fight it. Don't argue with the urge. Click it. Because the moment you secure your seat, something in your body is going to release. You will feel it like a weight sliding off your shoulders. That is heaven recognizing the move you just made. Now hear me again, my child. There are seasons in your life when I am the one who chooses to be silent, so that you feel as if you have been dropped into a vast emptiness with no ground beneath your feet. You pray, and the answer does not come. You knock, and the door does not creak. You look around, and no hand reaches out to catch you. Your heart folds in on itself, and your soul begins to crack open like dry earth in a drought, thinking that I no longer love you, thinking that maybe I never did. But in that exact moment, I am wrapping you in a hidden cloud of mist, because the blessing I have appointed for your life is drawing dangerously close, and the enemy is frantic trying to figure out where to strike. If I did not hide you, you would be exposed to the burning jealousy of demons and the prying eyes of people whose hands have always been too small to hold what God is releasing into yours. The scriptures themselves declare it. Whoever dwells in the secret place of the Most High will rest under the shadow of the Almighty. You are not abandoned, my child. You are being hidden by me. I know that in this season of hiddenness, your heart is wounded easily, almost daily. You watch those who were once close slowly drift to the edges of your life. Your words suddenly seem to fall flat. Every door appears to slam shut in your face. You think you have done something to deserve this. You think I am punishing you for some forgotten failure. But my child, hear me. This is not punishment. This is protection. There are people who are no longer permitted to hear what I am about to whisper into your spirit, because their lips are not pure enough to carry heavenly secrets without distorting them. There are places where you are no longer allowed to stand, because the soil beneath those places is no longer clean enough to nourish the seed I have planted in you. I cut things away, not because you are lacking, but because the blessing is coming dangerously close, and I must keep you out of reach of jealous souls. Understand this, my beloved one. When I hide you, I do not hide you to forget you. I hide you to grow you. I do not want you to become someone who is dependent on the gaze, the praise, or the approval of the world. Because the one destined to carry a heavenly inheritance cannot survive off the fragile applause of men. If you constantly crave being recognized, you will not stand when I place you in a season where no one understands what I am doing in you. I am teaching you the value of silence, the place where my voice finally rings clearly. Only when no one is standing beside you can you finally hear the sound of my own footsteps walking with you in the dark. There is a truth few are willing to swallow. Before I lift a soul up, I always lead that soul into a place of hiddenness first. just as I placed Moses inside a cleft in the rock when my glory passed by, so that the weight of divine splendor would not crush him. You too are in that cleft right now. It is dark, it is narrow, but it is safe. You see only the back side of what is happening, while I am working the front side and no one else even knows about it. Your loneliness is not the sign of failure, it is the sign of birth. Everything great in my kingdom is conceived in stillness. Be patient, because I am working in the deepest layers within you, the layers that the world's spotlight is not yet ready to see. If you keep evaluating your life through the eyes of the flesh, you will arrive at the wrong conclusion. You will say to yourself, God has left me. And in that exact moment, you will step out of the refuge I prepared for you and run into the open field where the enemy has been waiting with arrows already strung. Many have done this. They stepped out before the appointed time and were crushed by the very blessing they had spent years praying for. Hear me, my child. Hiddenness is not exclusion. It is the process I use to safeguard the most precious thing being formed inside you. When I have not yet allowed you to shine, it is not because you are unworthy. It is because I am waiting for the light within you to grow strong enough that it cannot be swallowed by the lesser lights around you. I know you are weary. You have waited so long that your knees have memorized the floor. You look around and see doors opening for everyone else, while you stand outside knocking again and again on a door that seems painted shut. But hear me, my beloved, I have no need for you to knock on someone else's door. I myself am building a brand new door, one that has only your name engraved on it. You think you have been abandoned. The truth is that I am separating you from the crowd, so that you will not be dissolved into it. I am training you to lean on me alone, not on noise, not on numbers, not on networks, because you were chosen to build, not merely to blend in. A carrier of heavenly inheritance cannot be forged in the roar of applause. He or she can only be forged in solitude and tears. Remember David, the small shepherd boy left out in the fields with the animals, while his brothers were called into the feast with Samuel. Yet in that very moment when he was forgotten, I called his name. While others thought he was unqualified, I had already seen in his heart something kingly. So it is with you today. Not because you are being exalted yet, but because you are being hidden, the blessing is being preserved. I am teaching you a lesson reserved only for the chosen ones, how to remain still in the dark when everything in you is screaming for the light. If you learn this lesson, you will never again tremble at silence, nor be anxious when others race ahead of you. Because true blessing never arrives early. It comes at the precise moment you are strong enough to carry it without being crushed by it. As I promised through Jeremiah, for I know the plans I have for you, plans of peace and not of harm, to give you a future and a hope. And that future, my child, is closer than your tired heart believes. But before your inheritance is released, I must scrub your heart clean of fear and doubt. I need you to learn how to be silent, yet still believe, to be hidden, yet still rejoice, to see nothing and still walk forward, because only hearts refined in hiddenness are strong enough to keep the blessing without the blessing destroying them. And when you have learned to rest in the hidden place, I will begin pruning away what no longer belongs to you, so that when the blessing arrives, your hands will be empty enough to take hold of it. My beloved child, before we go a single step further, I want you to do something I have been waiting for. This message you are hearing right now, it was not crafted for your ears alone. There are at least 3 people in your life who need to hear these exact words today. Stop for a moment and let me name them in your spirit. Maybe it is a brother who has been silent for too long. Maybe a sister who has been carrying a weight she will not put down. Maybe a friend whose faith has been hanging by a single thread. Share this video with 3 of them. 3 is not a random number. 3 is the number of the Holy Trinity. 3 is the number of covenant. When you share this message with 3 souls, you are not sending a video. You are activating a triangular covenant of protection over your life and theirs. Send it through WhatsApp. Send it through Facebook. Post it in your church group. Text it to your prayer partner. Call them and tell them, I just heard something that made me think of you. Because the souls who share are the souls who unlock acceleration in their own blessing. And the souls who hoard a divine word for themselves block the very flow they have been praying to feel. Be a vessel of delivery today. 3 souls. Move now. My beloved child, there are things I must take from your hands, not because I want you to lose, but because I want to rescue what is still alive in you. Many times you cannot see it, but the very people you are clinging to with desperate fingers are the ropes tightening around your soul. I know you love them. I know you have spent more tears on them than you have spent on yourself. But my child, if I do not cut them away from you, you will slowly suffocate inside your own loyalty. When I allow a person to walk out of your life, do not label it betrayal. Label it heaven's intervention. There are souls who were only permitted to write a single chapter in your story, never the entire book. If you insist on keeping them on every page, you are rewriting an ending that I myself have already ordained. Remember Abraham and Lot? When I called Abraham to leave his homeland, I never instructed him to bring Lot along. But Abraham loved his nephew, and he thought a little familiarity along the way could not possibly hurt. And later, in the middle of lush pasture land, they parted ways in bitterness. Because when you walk with the wrong person, the blessing becomes a burden, and the partnership becomes a poison. So many times your blessing is delayed, not because I am slow, but because you are dragging along people heaven never authorized to walk beside you. I see the fear inside your heart, the fear of losing those you love. You are afraid of being alone. You are afraid of being misunderstood. You are afraid people will think you have become cold or proud or ungrateful. But my child, if you let your emotions steer the wheel, you will never reach the destination I have set for you. There are people who were happy when you were weak, but uncomfortable the moment you began to stand up. There are people who stayed quiet when you were misunderstood, but suddenly fluent when there was something unkind to say behind your back. They do not truly hate you. They simply cannot bear the light in you that is growing brighter every day. The light is not the problem, but darkness will always resist whenever it is exposed. Do not blame them. Thank me instead, because I have shown you who is real and who is performing. Before you stepped into a brand new season carrying everything you have built, you often kneel and ask me, well, why does the Lord keep letting me lose the people I love? And I whisper back into the quiet of your heart, because I want you to be free. Every soul I have cut away from you is not a punishment. It is a cleansing. If you keep relationships that feed only on emotional dependency, you will drag those souls through a door I have never opened for them. That door is for you, not for the crowd that has been following you around, hoping for crumbs. You cannot bring everyone up the same mountain, because at the summit there is not enough room for the whole group. Just as Jesus, when he walked into Gethsemane, took only 3 of his closest disciples, and even then, when he drew near to the deepest place of his prayer, he stepped forward alone. There are stretches of the journey, my child, where no one is permitted to walk beside you. No matter how deeply you love them, I am teaching you a lesson very few souls ever learn. True love does not always mean holding on. Sometimes true love is knowing exactly when to let go. You are not losing them. You are placing them back into my hands. You are not pushing them away. You are returning them to the one who can do for them what you could never do. When I sign the order to cut something off, it is because I see in advance what your eyes cannot yet see. You see them as loyal and kind. I see the fractures in their hearts that, if you stay too close, will eventually cause you to break alongside them. I know there are promises spoken between you and them, but I also know that my word matters more than every human covenant ever spoken under the moon. A covenant bound only by human emotion will never outlast a promise written in the blood of the Lamb. So I want you to look back at yourself honestly. Why do you keep holding on to people who are no longer walking the same road as you? Is it because you are afraid no one else will understand you? Or is it because you have not yet truly believed that I am enough to fill every empty space the moment they walk out of it? Every time you try to retie the cords I have already cut, you are making yourself an enemy of my work. You tell yourself you just want peace, but in truth, you are afraid of losing control. You tell yourself you want to love the way the Lord commands, but in truth, you are running from the pain of letting go. Understand this clearly. Love does not mean attachment. When I tell you to love, I do not tell you that you must keep. Do you know what happens when you cling to relationships I have already stamped finished? Your blessing begins to be contaminated. Spiritual secrets are leaked into the wrong ears. Words you spoke in sincerity are twisted into weapons used against you. The enemy does not need to break through your front door if he can use someone in your living room to slowly drain your strength. I have watched so many souls fall, not because of great battles, but because they could not bring themselves to release those who once laughed with them in seasons that have already closed. You must never forget this. There are faces that were a blessing in the old season, but become a hindrance in the new one. I am purifying the circle around you, not to leave you lonely, but to leave you undeceived, not to take from you, but to overcome for you. There are people who entered your life only to help you see your own lessons. When they leave, the lesson stays. You may love anyone, my child, but never let your affection grow louder than my voice. If I tell you to let go, do not ask why, because sometimes the answer is only revealed after the tears have already dried. And if you still do not understand, look once more at Abraham. Only after he and Lot parted ways did I finally speak. Lift up your eyes and look. All the land you can see I give to you and to your descendants. The blessing was released only after the bonds had been loosened. Do not be afraid of the empty spaces. I do not subtract from your life to leave you with nothing. I subtract to leave you clean. Wherever you are willing to lose, there I will plant something true. Wherever you are willing to bleed, there I will make all things new. But if you insist on clinging to what is already dead, I cannot pour living blessing into you. I cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. You must let me make them new, even if the process feels like it is opening a wound. Trust me. The wound of today is the doorway into the glory of tomorrow. And right here, my child, in the middle of this teaching about letting go, I need to bring something to your attention that the Spirit has been pressing on my heart for you. There is a reason why so many men and women your age are stepping into elevens precisely during this season of release. Because letting go is not just emotional, it is spiritual warfare. And spiritual warfare requires spiritual weapons that you cannot pick up at a Sunday service alone. Listen to what Robert from Chicago wrote to our team last week. I am a retired veteran. I never believed prayer could rearrange my financial life. My wife pushed me to try elevens. By day 9 of my first season, I received a phone call about a pension adjustment I had been owed for years. Thousands of dollars. I broke down in my kitchen. God used elevens to find me after I had stopped looking. Robert was not searching anymore. He had given up. But the prayer covenant of elevens reached him while he was busy living his ordinary life. That same covenant is waiting for you. The link to join is in the description below this video. It is also pinned in the comment section. Both locations, both clearly marked. You cannot miss it unless you choose to. And right now, as you are listening, Season 3 of Elevens is playing across the world. Episode 2 was just released. Members are pressing play on this very episode in cities you have never heard of. They are receiving their daily dose. Every day they listen, the prayer compounds. By day 7, they feel a shift in their bodies. By day 15, the people in their household feel it. By day 30, their entire life looks different from the inside out. 1 episode per day, like medicine, just one. That is the sacred rhythm, and every day you delay is a day someone else is moving forward while you are still asking the same questions you were asking last month. You are thinking, I cannot afford it. Stop. $19.99. You spent more than that this week on coffee you have already forgotten about, on groceries you cannot remember buying, on small purchases that vanished without a trace. The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. Click it before fear talks you out of it. One more time. You are thinking, I will do it later. Listen. Later is the enemy's favorite word. Later is how he steals every divine opening in your life. There is no later for this offer. The price is $19.99 only until the total membership reaches 1,000 worldwide. After that, the doors close on this rate and the price returns to $100 permanently. No extensions, no mercy. Just a closed door, and the rest of your life wondering what would have changed if you had moved today. Only 322 seats remain this month. Right now, as you are watching this, somebody just claimed seat number 12. Somebody just claimed seat number 13. The counter is moving. Are you going to watch it hit 333 from the outside? Or are you going to be inside before it closes? 333 is not a random number. It is the angelic number. It is the number of the ascended, of heaven's direct communication, of divine alignment. God chose this number. He did not choose 200 or 500. He chose 333. There is a reason. There is always a reason. And when the blessing finally comes, my child, you will taste a strange, unshakable peace. You will no longer weep over those who left. You will start giving thanks that I revealed their true faces early. You will begin to discern who is truly called to walk with you and who has only been feeding off the blessings on your life. You will learn to choose silence instead of arguments, to choose prayer instead of complaint, because you will finally understand that I am clearing the table to prepare a brand new feast. I tell you all of this so your heart may finally rest. No loss in me is ever meaningless. Every person I remove is a weight you no longer have to carry. Every door I close is a wrong road you will not have to repay one day with interest. Every tear that falls when you release is a seed I am watering for the very next season, so do not regret. Do not panic. Do not turn around and try to walk back. You do not need old relationships to be complete. You only need me, the one who has never changed and will never change. And when your heart has become light enough, you will hear my voice more clearly than ever. Because true blessing never arrives with noise and chaos. It visits hearts that have been washed of bondage, washed of jealousy, washed of bitterness. The more you learn to release, the closer the blessing draws. And in that stillness, you will suddenly realize that I am not only teaching you to release people, I am teaching you to release your own ego so that you may be humble enough to keep what I am about to entrust to you in the coming season. Because there are things, my beloved, that can only be unlocked once you dare to move forward, even when no one else walks beside you. And from the moment you truly learn how to walk alone in me, blessing will no longer be blocked, because then no hand but mine will have the right to hold your life. My beloved one of the most cunning traps the enemy ever lays at your feet, is convincing you that my silence is proof that I am doing nothing. He whispers into your ear, God has forgotten you. That promise was just your imagination. You made it all up. You wasted your years believing in something that never had your name on it. And little by little, your heart begins to wobble. Your faith starts cracking like the glass of a small lamp whose oil is running low. But hear me say this to your spirit today. My silence has never meant my absence. When you cannot see me moving, that is when I am arranging things in depths your eyes cannot even reach, like a seed buried under several inches of soil. No one watching from above sees it sprouting, yet in the darkness, hidden from every eye, it is growing roots. I know you are tired of waiting for the promise, tired of waiting for the door, tired of waiting for the word I spoke over you to finally show up in real life. With each passing day, your heart feels weaker, and you start asking yourself in the quiet hours, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe God meant that for someone else. But my child, you did not misunderstand. You are simply walking through the hardest stretch of the test. Every promise I have ever made must pass through the fire of time, so that the faith of the one holding it may be refined like pure gold from the furnace. If I had given you the blessing the moment you first asked, you would never have learned how to keep it. Waiting is not delay. Waiting is the process by which I raise your faith to a level it has never operated at before. As the scriptures themselves declare, faith is being certain of what we hope for and convinced of what we cannot see. And it is precisely when you can see absolutely nothing that true faith is born inside your spirit. I see every single night when you sit on the edge of the bed and want to give up. You kneel down to pray and rise again with a heart fuller of doubt than the one you started with. You think to yourself, maybe I am not good enough. Maybe God reserved this for someone else. But my child, I never chose you because you were good enough. I chose you because I wanted to reveal my kindness through your life. What you are waiting for is not the reward for your perfection. It is the fruit of your faithfulness. I am teaching you a kind of faith that does not rest on outcomes. It rests on relationship. When you are still chasing results, you will be anxious. When you are only seeking me, you will be at peace. Because if you have me, you never truly lack anything. Many believe that faith is standing tall in the middle of a storm. But true faith is remaining on your knees even when you have no strength left to lift your head. When you are exhausted and still believe, that is the moment heaven signs decrees over your life. I am not silent only to test you, I am silent to position you. That silence is a test of love. Will you remain when there is no more comfort to be found? When all the signs have disappeared and only my word remains, will you still hold on, my child? Do not fear the silence. Fear losing your faith in the middle of the waiting. Because if you give up at the final minute, you will never know that with one more moment of standing still, I was ready to step in. I have watched so many souls stop right before dawn. They walked almost the entire night. Then they grew impatient, thinking I was too slow, and they turned aside in search of solutions that looked faster and easier. And right there, on the doorstep of their breakthrough, they lost the true inheritance. You must not follow that path, my child. Remember Abraham, who waited for years to see the promise of a son. When his heart grew impatient, he listened to his wife's suggestion and produced Ishmael. And that single decision brought generations of trouble upon his descendants. Sometimes what arrives faster is not what is right. I work within time, but I am not bound by time. As for you, if you do not learn to trust me in the middle of the delay, you will miss the greatest lesson available to anyone living under grace. Hear this clearly. Waiting is not an empty gap in your life. Every moment you spend there is a moment I am using to prepare you for what you have been asking for. If you receive the blessing while your heart is still unready, that blessing will crush you instead of crown you. I do not want you to collapse under the weight of your own prayers. Look at Joseph. If he had been released from prison even one day early, he would never have met Pharaoh. If human hands had rescued him, he would never have been placed in the position I intended. It is the same with you. There are doors I have not yet opened, not because I have forgotten, but because I am rewriting the foundations underneath those doors, so that when you step in, you stand firm instead of falling forward. I want you to learn a deeper kind of patience. Patience in the heart, not just in outward behavior. Patience is not doing nothing. It is knowing how to trust, even while you are doing very little. You do not need to look strong. You only need not to walk away. Sometimes standing still is the loudest battle cry. Just keep kneeling, keep believing, keep remaining quietly in me, because I am never slow. Everything I have promised has its appointed time, and that time is closer than you imagine. But if you abandon your post, the blessing will arrive and not find you there to receive it. As Scripture declares, let us not grow weary in doing good. For if we do not lose heart, in due season we shall reap. My child, I do not blame you for being tired. I only long for you not to turn back. Every time you start thinking I am far away, remember the times I pulled you out of the deepest pits. I am still that same one, unchanging. Do not let the delay make you doubt my love. Delay is not rejection. It is formation. I am teaching you to trust in my word, not in the rhythm of the world. And when your heart is quiet enough, you will realize that right here, in this very silence, I am writing the greatest work of your entire life. And in the middle of teaching you about silence, I cannot move on without bringing your attention to something the Spirit keeps pressing on my heart for you. There is a reason elevens emerged at this exact moment in history, my child. The world has never been louder than it is right now. Notifications, news, opinions, voices, voices, voices. The average believer cannot even hear their own thoughts, let alone the still small voice that has been trying to speak. The Elevens prayer covenant was designed for this exact season, not because the ancestors saw smartphones coming, but because the Spirit knew that in the noisiest age of human history, a generation of saints would need a refuge, a daily sanctuary they could step into for 1 hour, 1 episode, 1 sacred dose of medicine for the soul. And inside that hour, the noise would lift, the static would clear, and they would finally hear me again. Listen to what Gloria from Miami wrote into our team. I was diagnosed with something that terrified me. My doctor gave me news I was not prepared to hear. I started my Elevens episodes the very next morning, sitting in my kitchen with shaking hands. By day 20, my follow-up results came back, and my doctor said she had never seen anything like it. She used the word miraculous. I know what happened. God heard those prayers. Gloria did not need to be a theologian. She did not need to know the right Hebrew word. She simply stepped into the covenant and let the daily prayer carry her where she could not carry herself. The link to step into the same covenant Gloria stepped into is in the description below. It is also pinned in the comment section. Both places, go look. The link will not bite you. The link will not embarrass you. The link will simply take you to the door God has built for you. You are thinking, is this real? Look at the thousands of Elovians who are already inside, already covered, already receiving, already walking through this season different from the way they walked into it. The proof is not on a page. The proof is in the lives that have been quietly transformed by the daily rhythm. You are thinking, I need to ask someone first. No, this is between you and God. There is no person in your life who is going to give you permission to choose your own inheritance. The choice is yours alone. God brought you here. Now He is waiting to see if you will obey or scroll away. Say yes if you believe I have a plan for your finances. Say yes if you believe your health can be restored. Say yes if you believe your family can be put back together. Now take the next yes. Click the link in the description. That is the yes that activates all of the others. Because Season 3, Episode 2 of Elevens is playing right now, people are listening, people are being covered, and every minute you wait is one more minute someone else takes the seat you were meant to take. When you have walked through this season of waiting, my beloved, you will not be the same person who entered it. You will no longer be someone who rushes after results. You will be someone who understands the rhythm of heaven. And then I will be able to entrust the blessing to you without fearing that it will pull you away from me, because I will see that your heart no longer chases success. It only chases my presence. And that, my child, is the sign that true blessing is ready to be revealed. And when you finally step into it, I will test your heart one more time, not with lack, but with abundance itself. Because sometimes what is more dangerous than failure is success without me in it. But be at peace. I will walk with you on both sides of the mountain. my beloved son, my beloved daughter. I know there are cuts inside you that time has never managed to heal. There are words that were spoken over you when you were still small, and those words still echo inside your soul like a verdict that has never been overturned. You will never amount to anything. Your faith is just an illusion. You were born ordinary, and you will stay ordinary. Words that seemed harmless when they were spoken, yet they sank deep roots into the soft soil of your soul, making you slowly forget your true image in me. You do not realize that every single time you agree with those old words, you are letting the enemy rewrite your own definition. He does not need to bind you with visible chains as long as he can convince you that you have no value. Then you will lock your own heart shut. But hear me declare it loudly enough that every shadow in the room has to listen. You are a marvelous and astonishing creation. My works are wonderful, and I know it well. You are not a mistake. You are a masterpiece. You think those old words have passed. You think you have grown out of them, but they are still quietly directing your reactions today. When someone looks down on you, you immediately close your heart. When someone praises you, you cannot believe it is real. When I call you to step out into a new thing, you tremble because the memories of long ago whisper, "You are not enough." And right there, in that exact moment, you have forgotten that my word is stronger than every human voice that has ever crossed your path. You are living like a prisoner, even though the door of the cell has been hanging wide open for years. Many people around you do not actually hate you, but you keep looking at them through the lens of old wounds. You are haunted by the fear of rejection, to the point where you reject the very opportunities I am sending you. Do not let the shadows of the past cover the light of the present. I see you trying so hard to be strong, trying to prove your worth through success, through endless effort, through chasing one blessing after another. But my child, if the deepest motive inside you is still, "I will show them," then you are still bound. I did not call you to prove yourself. I called you to live true in my grace. When you use blessing to cover your wounds, that blessing becomes a burden. Because I do not give you blessings so you can run from your memories. I give them so you can bring healing to others who are still trapped in theirs. You do not need success to have value. You already have value. That is why I entrusted you with an inheritance in the first place. And true blessing only arrives when you no longer need to be recognized. You only need to be found in me. Do you know why the enemy loves using words to wound you? Because he understands that the real battlefield is in the mind. When negative words slip into the heart, they take root, and gradually they become the truth in the way you live. If you believe you are weak, you will live like one who is weak. If you believe you are unworthy, you will reject every opportunity heaven sends. And so the enemy hardly needs to attack you. He just lets you defeat yourself. But I want you to hear this clearly. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. And every tongue that rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn. People's words have no authority over your life unless you agree with them. My dear one, the memories of being humiliated, of being misunderstood, of being abandoned, I see them all. I do not look away. I gather every tear, but I do not want you to live in those memories forever. If you keep clutching your pain, you will turn that pain into your identity. You will trap yourself inside the frame of someone who is wounded, while I have already called you someone who is healed. people may speak about you according to what they see, but only I have the authority to define you, and my definition of you has never once changed. You are the child of the King. Look at Gideon, the one who said, "My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my father's house." But I looked at him and called him a mighty warrior. I did not call him according to his situation. I called him according to the potential I had placed inside him. The same is true with you, my child. I do not call you according to your past. I call you according to the destiny I have already written for your future. The question is, whose voice will you listen to? The voice of people or mine? I know there are wounds that are not easy to touch. You have buried them so deeply you actually think you have forgotten them, but they are still quietly steering your every reaction. You avoid love. You are afraid of closeness. You fear trusting again. You look at people through a mist of suspicion, and I see you building walls between yourself and the world. But my child, how can the light enter if the walls do not come down? I do not want you to pretend you are okay. I want you truly healed. Let me touch the places you do not dare to speak about. Do not be afraid. I do not come to condemn. I come to heal. The very part of you that you think I will reject is exactly the place where I want to begin again. When I heal, I do not merely mend. I make new. I do not just erase the memory. I rewrite the meaning of the memory. What once made you ashamed, I will turn into a testimony of grace. The pain that once silenced you, I will turn into a voice that awakens many other souls. I will make those who once looked down on you have to admit out loud, only the Lord could have done this. But before I can do this, you must allow me to touch you. You must stop the self-protection that has been keeping you imprisoned far longer than the original wound ever did. Look deep inside. Are you afraid of what people will say? Or are you afraid to face yourself? If you know who you are in me, the voices of humans lose all their weight. If you understand that blessing is given to glorify me, you no longer need to prove anything. I do not need you to be perfect. I need you to be real, because I can only touch the parts you dare to bring into the light. Do not fear the light. It does not come to burn you. It comes to cleanse you. When I begin to release your inheritance, I am not only giving you money or position. I am giving back to you the true worth the world has stolen. My blessing is not only material, it is freedom. Freedom from shame, freedom from fear, freedom from having to play the role of the strong one that I never asked you to play in the first place. When you are freed from the chains inside, every blessing on the outside will endure. If your heart is still torn, blessing will be like a beautiful garment thrown over a wounded body. But when your heart is healed, you will wear the blessing like a robe of glory, without ever fearing that it is hiding the truth. My child, let me say this to you in the quiet. No one has the right to define you except me. No word, however bitter, can erase your name from my hand. No past is strong enough to break the plan I have already written. You are not what people say you are. You are what I have spoken. And I have spoken, you are loved. You are chosen. You are sent. When you believe this, every invisible chain will fall. You will stop searching for your worth in human mouths and begin to find it in my eyes. You will stop fearing failure because you will know you have already been accepted, and then you will see something amazing. When the heart is healed, it begins to attract what is pure. The people who come near you will not come for advantage. They will come for the light dwelling within you. because a healed heart is a place where I myself can dwell. And my child, when your heart has been washed clean, when the old words no longer rule over you, I will pour out blessing to the point that nothing in heaven or on earth can hinder it. But when the blessing finally arrives, you must remember, blessing can lift you, but blessing can also destroy you. So keep your heart soft so that the blessing does not pull you away from me. Because what is truly fearful is not when you are in lack. What is truly fearful is when you are in plenty and you forget the one who gave you everything. And right here, my child, as I am speaking to you about healing the inner wounds, I want you to listen carefully to one more testimony from our Elovans community. Listen to what William from Phoenix wrote into our team. I had high blood pressure, knee pain that kept me up at night, and I was not sleeping more than 3 hours a stretch. My doctor had me on 4 different medications and was considering adding a 5th. After 1 full season of Elovans, my numbers dropped so dramatically my doctor reduced 2 of my medications. He asked me what changed in my routine. I told him I started praying differently. He didn't understand. But I do. I am an Elovian now. I will be one until my last breath. William was not seeking healing for his body alone. He was seeking healing for the man inside the body. And the daily prayer covenant of Elovans reached both at the same time. The link to join William is in the description below. It is also pinned in the comments section. Just click. Right now, as you are listening, the counter is moving. 322 seats remaining this month, but seats are being claimed in real time across multiple countries. Somebody just claimed seat number 20 in the last hour. Somebody else just claimed seat number 21. By the time this video ends, the number will be lower. By tomorrow morning, lower again. And once all 333 seats for this month are taken, the door closes. You wait until next month. And once 1,000 total members worldwide have claimed the 19.99 rate, the rate is gone forever. The price returns to $100. There is no going back. There is no extension. There is no special exception for the soul who waited too long. You spent more than $19.99 on something this week that you cannot even remember purchasing. What if, instead, you had bought 30 days of sacred prayer, an entire season of daily spiritual prescription? The link is in the description. It is also pinned in the comments. If you are crying right now, good. Those tears are your spirit recognizing the door I have just opened in front of you. Act on them. Click the link through the tears, because every great move in the kingdom has been made by trembling hands with tears still wet on the face. My beloved one, I will not let you go any further into this message without pausing for what I am about to ask of you. This is the second time I will say it, and the second time matters more than the first. Share this video with 3 souls today. 3 is not arbitrary. 3 is the number of the Trinity. 3 is the number that activates a covenant of covering over you and over each soul you reach. Stop pretending you do not have 3 names you could send this to. Open WhatsApp. Open Facebook. Open your text messages. Send the link. Share it in your prayer group. Share it in your family group chat. Drop it on your wall. Send it through every door of communication you own. Because heaven sees this act and heaven rewards this act. You are no longer just watching a video. You are becoming a vessel of divine delivery. The blessings you have been waiting for begin to accelerate the moment you stop hoarding the word and start spreading it. 3 souls today. Move now. Pause this video if you have to. Send the link, then come back. I will be waiting. My child, there is something I must tell you very gently. Yet very plainly, the enemy does not only know how to use lack to bring you down, he is also extremely skilled at using prosperity to pull you away from me. In hardship, you seek me. You weep before me. You cling to me as the last refuge left on earth. But once the doors begin to open, once the money begins to flow in, once the opportunities multiply, your heart quietly shifts its center of gravity. You do not even say it out loud, but somewhere deep inside you start believing, I am fine now. I can handle this on my own. And right there, that is the moment when the blessing begins to be distorted. From a gift I gave you into a throne where you sit to feel higher than others. The blessing has not changed its nature, but your heart has changed. And so the blessing becomes a sweet kind of judgment hanging quietly over your life. I see every step you take as you enter this season of favor. At first you are still trembling, still praying before every decision, still asking me about the smallest things. But then your calendar gets fuller. The calls come in more often. The invitations widen. The handshakes multiply. And slowly you begin to treat prayer like a luxury. The word becomes something to read later. Worship becomes something to do if there is still time at the end of the day. You forget that the very things you are holding now are the things you once knelt down and begged me for. You forget that it was I who lifted you out of that low place. Not your effort, not your network, not your strategy. Me. Just as I reminded the children of Israel, when you have eaten and are satisfied, when you have built fine houses and settled down, when your herds and flocks grow large, do not become proud and forget the Lord your God. That warning was not written only for them. It was written also for you today, in this exact moment of your life. What breaks my heart is not that you have become richer or more capable or better known. I am not jealous of your success. I am the one who opened the way. What grieves me is that when I call, you are now busy. When I knock, the room is silent. When I remind you, you say, "Later, Lord." Gradually, you value the gaze of people more than mine. You weigh whether a decision fits your personal image more than whether it aligns with my will. You do not even realize it, but you are stepping further and further away from the center of my purpose. While still convincing yourself that you are serving God through your success, I want you to pause right now and look straight into your own heart. If I took away everything you have at this very moment, would your life still feel meaningful? If every ministry, every position, every dollar, every reputation were stripped from you in a single day, would I still be enough? Because, my child, if when the blessings disappear you feel that you have lost everything, then the blessings have already become your God. I do not want you to worship the inheritance. I want you to walk with the one who gives the inheritance. As my son Jesus himself said, what good is it for a person to gain the whole world and yet forfeit their soul? That question was not written to frighten you. It was written to draw you back into balance. Understand this clearly. The blessings themselves are not evil, but your clinging to them is the real problem. When you start believing you deserve everything you have, when you place yourself at the center of the story, when you forget that everything is grace, in that moment, the blessing has changed roles from servant to master. I have watched so many souls who loved me passionately in the days of small beginnings, but grew cold the moment they were lifted up. They were not crushed by suffering. They were worn down by comfort. It was not the storm that defeated them. It was the soft bed that put them to sleep. I do not want you to become one of them, my child. I also see how you gradually adjust your standards to match the appearance of the blessing. There were invitations at the start that you clearly knew did not come from me. But because they were attractive, because they looked reasonable, because they paid well, you talked yourself into believing, surely God is okay with this too. You began to sign tiny compromises, small deviations, little things that did not seem to matter. Everyone does it. But my child, every compromise is one more step away from your spiritual safety zone. True blessing does not need you to cheat to keep it. Only the things that do not come from me need deceit in order to survive. If you have to hide it, dodge the truth about it, avoid the light around it, then it is no longer a blessing. It is a snare. I'm not telling you these things to make you afraid of blessing. I'm telling you so that you will know how to guard your heart in the middle of the blessing. I do not desire that you be poor in the physical sense. I desire that you be wealthy and yet still tender before me. I long for you to have an inheritance large enough that through it you can lift many others up, help many suffering souls, open your heart wider toward the ones who are still weak. But if that inheritance only makes you build higher walls, increase the distance between you and others, drive you away from the poor and the broken and the house of prayer itself, then that inheritance is slowly consuming you. A blessing that comes from me must draw you closer to me, not pull you away. Be still and let me ask you this. When was the last time you sought me just to be with me? Not for a project, not for a plan, not for guidance on a problem. When was the last time you wept before me? Not because of the pressure to succeed, but because you longed to be closer to me. When was the last time you dared to turn down a lucrative opportunity simply because it dimmed my voice inside you? These questions are not designed to condemn you. They are designed to bring the focus back into view, because wherever your heart feels at home, that is where the true Lord of your life is. I want to teach you the art of living in blessing without being controlled by it. It is the discipline of bowing lower every single time you are lifted higher. The higher you rise, the deeper you must kneel. The more you hold, the more you must be willing to release. Do not grip so tightly that your hands become rigid, because when I want to use those hands, you will no longer be supple enough to obey. Practice giving back to me what I have given to you, not because I need anything from you, but because you need to be reminded that you own nothing. You are only a steward. A wise steward never confuses himself with the master of the house. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you worry. If I slow down in chasing work to spend more time near God, will I lose my opportunities? And I smile, because I am the one who opens and closes doors. No door I have reserved for you can be stolen by another. The only thing that can make you lose your opportunity is if you step out of my orbit. So do not be afraid to slow down to guard your heart. Do not hesitate to lay some things aside to preserve our relationship. Do not be afraid to say no to invitations where I am not present. It is better to lose one opportunity and keep your soul than to gain 1,000 opportunities and lose yourself. As the warning was given to the rich in the letter to Timothy, command those who are rich not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain. Put their hope instead in the living God, That word is not only for the wealthy, it is for anyone to whom I have given more than the average soul in any area. Talent, influence, opportunity, resources. At any moment, you can be the rich one in someone else's eyes, so do not wait until you possess a great deal before you start practicing humility. Begin now, while the blessing is still just a tender shoot. Let me say this so your heart can rest. I am not afraid of your success. I am only afraid that success will lift you out of my hand. I rejoice when you are exalted, but I grieve if on the day you are honored, you no longer recognize my voice in the middle of the applause. I am proud when the world sees my light shining in you, but I am sorrowful if you use that light to shine on yourself instead of pointing back to the true source. You were not born to be a star. You were born to be a mirror. The clearer the mirror, the more sharply my image is seen through you. So, my child, keep your heart soft before me. That is the only way for the blessing not to turn into an idol. Every time you sense yourself clinging to something tighter than you are clinging to me, dare to lay it on the altar. Every time applause stirs your heart more than my voice does, return to the secret place. Every time your schedule fills up to the point that there is no room left for me, let me cut it back. I do not prune you to make you poorer. I prune you so you will not lose the most precious thing of all, your soul. On the days of lack, you thought you were in danger of collapsing, but the day you are exalted is far more dangerous. Many have not stumbled in nights of tears. They have fallen on days of celebration. I do not want that to become your story. I have walked with you in the valley. I want to walk with you also on the mountaintop. Both places require me equally. You only need to remember this. Your inheritance is not your crown. It is the evidence of my grace. If you keep this truth in your heart, then the blessing will never become a trap that destroys you. Instead, it will become a bridge by which many other souls are led back to me through the very evidence of your life. And while we speak of this, my child, hear what Patricia from London wrote to our team last month. I was drowning in debt, credit cards behind, medical bills behind, rent behind, everything was behind. I did not even know how Elevens could help with money, but I trusted God and I joined. Within the first season, 3 unexpected payments came in, a refund I had never applied for, a tax credit I did not know I qualified for, and my landlord, out of nowhere, reduced my rent. I am an Alovian for life. Patricia did not know how the prayer covenant would touch her financial life. She just stepped in, and the moment she stepped in, the channels began to open in directions she could not have engineered with her own hands. The link is in the description below this video. It is pinned in the comments section. Both locations are marked clearly. Patricia stopped trying to figure it out and started obeying. You can do the same in the next 30 seconds. The price is $19.99. The standard is $100. The discount disappears the moment 1,000 total members join worldwide. 322 seats remain for this month. Season 3, Episode 2 is live. Members are listening right now. Episode 2 will not repeat. Days do not come back. If you wait until the end of this video, you may already be too late. You are thinking, what if I sign up and it does not work for me? Hear me clearly. The covenant works for everyone who steps in with sincerity. It is not a magic trick. It is a channel. You do not pick up a telephone and ask whether the line will work. You pick it up and you dial. Elevens is the line. The frequency is set. The connection is established. Your job is simply to pick up the receiver and start speaking through the daily prayer. Within 30 days you will know it was real because you will have lived it. Within 90 days you will be telling someone else what you are reading about today. My beloved child, I know the feeling you have never quite been able to put into words, that faint sting in the chest each time you share your joy and you sense in the eyes of certain loved ones a flicker of something you cannot quite name. Their mouths still smile, their lips still offer congratulations, but the air around you suddenly grows heavy, as though your joy has accidentally brushed against a dark, hidden corner of their hearts. You tell yourself you are being too sensitive, but you are not. Your spirit has sensed the ripple beneath the surface, right in the middle of your own family, among the very souls you love most. There are hearts that twist just slightly every time you mention victory, breakthrough, or new favor, and this wounds you, not because you look down on them, but because you cannot understand why walking closer with me would somehow make you feel lonelier inside your own home. I have seen it all, my child. I have watched the moments when you suddenly shrink, when you stop talking so quickly about what I am doing in your life, simply because you are afraid of those inexplicable glances. I have heard even the questions you never dared to ask out loud. Lord, why is it that the more your name is mentioned in my life, the more I feel pushed to the edges? I have counted every tear you have cried in the night, not because of material lack, but because of that sense of being out of sync with the very people closest to you. You have prayed countless times that nothing bad would happen between you and them, that your heart would not become bitter, that you would keep loving them without being crushed in the process. I was present in every one of those whispered prayers. I did not miss a single sigh. There have been moments when you considered just letting go of everything, not because you were tired of me, but because you were exhausted from trying to balance favor and relationships. You wanted to go back to the old version of yourself, small, unseen, not stirring any waves. You said to me, maybe I should just stop here. If I keep going, I am afraid of offending people, afraid of dragging in things I cannot handle. I have heard it all, and I understand. I am not angry with you for thinking those thoughts. I am only saddened that you have not yet seen the picture from my perspective. So today I lift you not with a voice of rebuke, but with the authority of a Father who already knows the future that has been sealed. And I say to you, do not return to the land I have brought you out of. Do not walk backward on the journey just because of other people's stares. The portion of inheritance I have set aside for you no longer lies in the realm of maybe or changeable. It has been decided in a place higher than every power and every authority. In the throne room itself I have signed my own name over your portion. What has been ordained for you has already left the place of judgment, and it is on its way to the exact destination I have chosen. And the only address it bears is your life. No one, not even you, can cancel this, but you can delay it or turn it into a burden if you allow fear to lead you instead of faith. You have walked through a season most people will never know about. They see only the result. But I am the one who has seen the whole process. You were insulted, and you stayed silent. You were misinterpreted, and you chose not to defend yourself. You were judged wrongly, and you simply stood still and whispered to me, Lord, you know my heart. When you chose to let me be your defender instead of protecting yourself, you put yourself in the exact place where I could intervene. I have not forgotten the days when you swallowed humiliation just so no one would be wounded, just so what I was building would not be damaged. You thought those were small, hidden moments of weakness, but to me, they were precious stones I have been using to build a throne of grace over your life. Now is the time when the reward begins to break through. And this reward is not just one specific gift, it is a whole new season. A season in which your spiritual weight is completely different from before. You will speak a word and the atmosphere will shift. You will lay your hand in prayer and chains will begin to loosen. You will walk into a room and the darkness will have to shrink back. This is authority forged through tears, through all the times you stayed silent yet still believed. But it is in this exact moment that the enemy refuses to sit quietly. He knows what I am about to do. And though he cannot stop my hand, there is one thing he can still target: your heart. If he can make you waver, if he can persuade you to give up with your own hands, if he can push you into breaking covenant, the blessing will still come, but you will no longer be in the right place to receive it in fullness. That is why your mind has felt so tangled lately, and you cannot even explain why. Familiar voices have begun to whisper again, from family, from relatives, from those who used to be close to you. They say things that sound very reasonable, things that sound very much like genuine concern, but deep inside you can feel the hidden point of the spear. Some tell you not to be so extreme, not to give yourself so completely, to live gently, to stop mentioning the Lord so often, to stop seeing everything as spiritual. Others gently press on your fear of being abandoned, pretending to comfort you while quietly planting questions. What if one day God stops helping you? If you fall, who will catch you? These words are like thin threads, but if they are wrapped around you enough times, they are strong enough to bind a giant. The enemy knows you love your family. He knows you treasure those people. So he borrows their lips to plant questions in your heart. If these things came from strangers, you would brush them off. But because they sound like the voices of those you respect, you start asking yourself, maybe I have gone too far. Maybe I should tone myself down a little just to keep everyone comfortable. My child, listen carefully. Not every gentle word comes from me. Not every piece of advice from family fits the path I have marked out for you. The enemy is far more cunning than you think. He rarely shows up with a terrifying face. He usually speaks with the voice of someone you do not want to disappoint. He will deliberately touch the old scars inside you, perhaps memories of being criticized as a child, the time you were abandoned, the moment you were treated as insignificant. He stirs them back to life, so you will fear that if you keep walking in my favor, you will be cut off from everyone, slandered more, misunderstood more deeply. He will make you think, if only I just stayed normal, without any blessings, there would be less trouble. That is his strategy. If he cannot stop me from blessing you, he will try to make you renounce the blessing with your own mouth, or live far beneath what I have prepared. He whispers that I do not really care about you, that I do not see your tiredness, that I am only using you as a tool. Those words are not truth. They are venom aimed directly at the place where you are most fragile. You need to understand this clearly. You are under no obligation to believe any voice that makes you doubt my love, no matter how close that voice may be. You are allowed to honor people, but you are not allowed to elevate their opinions above my word. I am not asking you to oppose your family. I am not asking you to despise anyone. I am simply telling you not to let any human being, even the one you love most, hold the right to direct your spiritual life in my place. When you let someone stand in that position, you are the one placing the key to your life into human hands. When it belongs only in the hands of the one who created you, return to the secret place, to where it is just you and me, so you can recover the plumb line of your soul. There you will recognize the difference between my voice and every other voice. My voice may correct you. It may press on painful places, but it always gives you hope. It always draws you nearer. It always leaves you knowing that even though the road is hard, you are not rejected. The other voice does the opposite. It makes you shrink. It makes you ashamed. It makes you believe that the safest thing is to stop moving forward. My voice lifts your head. The other voice makes you stare at the ground. My voice brings peace. The other voice sows confusion. Once you learn to discern this clearly, every strategy of the enemy will be exposed. I have never promised you that everyone would be pleased when you step into your inheritance. The opposite is true. The closer you draw to what I have ordained, the more people there will be who do not understand you. Some will see only the surface, the compliments, the favor, the opportunities. They will not see the inner struggles, the times you die to your own ego, the midnight negotiations between you and me. They judge from a distance, they compare, they envy. But my child, you are not alive to manage their emotions. You are alive to obey my will. And sometimes obeying me means accepting being misunderstood for an entire season. What I am looking for in you is not a forced smile in front of people. It is a heart that stays soft before me, even while you must stand strong on the outside. I want you to guard yourself against bitterness, against contempt, against the temptation of revenge. You may look at someone and know they are not sincere, and still choose not to resent them, still quietly pray for them, still maintain a healthy distance without feeding the hatred. That is the sign of a child who has grown up in me, not letting another person's darkness pull your heart down, and not allowing your own wounds to harden you into a closed-off person. I also want to remind you, do not shrink yourself down to fit other people's expectations just because you are afraid of being alone. You do not need to dim your light so their eyes will stop hurting. I did not lift you up so that you would have to ask each person for permission to keep going. If you curl yourself back every time someone feels uncomfortable, you will never finish the journey. Let me take care of their part. You simply remain faithful in yours. When you live true to your calling, some relationships will naturally change. That is not failure. It is necessary separation so you can finally be free. Remember this, the inheritance I have for you is not just so you can enjoy life more, it is so you can become a channel of blessing to the very people who do not yet understand you. One day, those who once doubted you may be the very ones who come to you for prayer, for encouragement, for guidance. If you stop today because of them, you will not be able to become the answer they will need tomorrow. Look beyond the present moment. See them through my eyes, not as enemies, but as wounded souls who do not yet know how to handle the fact that someone else's name is being mentioned more than theirs. So, my child, do not collapse just because of a few uncomfortable glances. I have chosen you. I have written your name over this portion of inheritance. I have signed the decree in heaven. What remains is whether you will dare to hold your position. Do not let a few words, a wave of emotion, or old memories pull you out of the place I have set you. Keep your spirit awake, your ears sensitive to my voice. your feet planted where I have appointed. Do not walk away. Do not step back. Do not break covenant just because you are tired. You are allowed to be weak, but do not let go of my hand. I am walking with you into a very crucial stretch of the road. The blessing that is about to be revealed will expose the hearts of others more clearly, but it will also reveal your own. Decide now that no matter what people say, you will choose to listen to me first. Let your hidden tears become intercession for your family and for those who are confused by the favor on your life. Let this inheritance not only prove that I am good to you, let it become a bridge that draws many other souls back to me through your very life. And above all, remember, in the middle of 1,000 noises, there is one call that never changes. It is my voice calling your name, day after day, hour after hour. When you are caught in the swirl of praise and criticism, come back to the quiet place where it is just you and me. There you will be reminded of who you are, whose you are, and what you are living for. I hold your hand, and I do not let go. Your part is to keep your ears open so that my voice will always be louder than every other voice. As long as that remains true, the blessing will never become a trap that destroys you. It will become living evidence that I, the Lord your God, am still moving, even in the very places that seem most filled with jealousy and misunderstanding. And right here, in the heart of teaching you about jealous voices and family pressure, I cannot keep silent about something the Spirit is highlighting. Hear what Dorothy from Alabama shared with our community. My son had not spoken to me in 4 years. 4 years. I started listening to Elevens every morning at 6 a.m. On day 17 of the very first season, he called. He just called. No reason. He said he woke up and felt like he needed to hear my mother's voice. I could not stop crying. Elevens brought my son back to me. Dorothy was not praying for finances. She was praying for restoration of a relationship that everyone in her family had given up on, and the prayer covenant of Elevens reached into the place where every human counselor had already shrugged in defeat. What is dead in your family is not beyond me. What has been silent for years is not beyond me. The link to step into the same covenant Dorothy stepped into is in the description below. It is pinned in the comment section, both places. Click it before the doubt swallows the spark of faith that is rising in you right now. You are thinking about your children right now. You are thinking about your grandchildren, about the relative who has not called in years, about the marriage that needs healing, about the family table that has empty chairs at it. What happens to them if your prayers are not reaching heaven fast enough? What happens if you stay outside the covenant one more month, one more year? The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. Click it through your tears, because heaven is moving faster than you think, and the door for this season is closing on schedule, whether you act or not. 322 seats this month. Some have already been claimed since this video started playing. The price is $19.99. The cap is $1,000 worldwide before the rate locks back to $100 permanently. Season 3, Episode 2 just dropped. The covenant is open right now. My beloved one, I cannot move further in this message without saying this for the 3rd time. Share this video with 3 souls today, and this time, hear the warning underneath the request. Souls who keep this message to themselves are blocking the flow that I am trying to release through them. The blessing was never meant to land and stop. it was meant to land and keep moving. There are people in your life right now who are one message away from breakthrough, one link away from healing, one forward away from finally hearing what they have been needing to hear. If you sit on this video and do not pass it on, you are not just keeping it for yourself. You are blocking them from receiving the answer to a prayer they may have been crying for years. 3 souls. 3. The number of the Holy Trinity. Send it through every channel. WhatsApp, Facebook, SMS, church group, family group, prayer, chain. Send it now. Do not wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the enemy's favorite word. Now is heaven's word. Move. Listen to me now, my child. Before you could ever do anything for me, before you could preach a single sermon, sign a contract, or step into any kind of success, I had already called you an heir. Not because you had an impressive resume, an admirable track record, or fewer faults than the souls around you, simply because I chose to love you. It was on those nights when you collapsed, yet did not dare to blame me. It was on those days of shame when you still chose silence instead of rebellion. That is when I saw what is most precious, a heart that is not yet perfect, but is willing to stay. The hosts of heaven do not move according to your moods. They move according to the decrees I have issued over your life. When I declared that you are to receive the inheritance that belongs to me, all of heaven shifted. But you must understand this clearly. Anything that carries eternal value will always stir up opposition. Just as a priceless treasure is never left lying in the middle of the road, the blessing I have prepared for you attracts not only grace, but also the jealous gaze of darkness. Hell does not stay silent when a fragile child stands up to walk in my will. That is why I whisper into your heart, my child, stay alert, not staying up all night in fear, but staying spiritually awake, able to discern what is my voice and what is the voice of seduction. When blessing begins to flow, you will naturally want to tell everyone, to share every vision, every dream, every plan. I understand that, because joy longs for company. But not everyone who smiles at you is genuinely happy to see you lifted up. Not everyone who stood by you in the days of your loneliness is mature enough to bear the new light on your life. Some people can only handle the weak version of you. They cannot handle the established version of you. If you open your heart carelessly, you will find yourself wounded by blades you yourself opened the door to. That is why I teach you secrecy. Not secrecy out of suspicion, but secrecy out of reverence for holy things. There are words I speak to that are meant only for you and your Father to know together. They are not for posting on a wall for the entire world to comment on. There are seeds of vision that must lie hidden in the deep soil, watered with tears and prayer, not paraded under the sun when the roots have not yet taken hold. When I draw you into a quieter place, when I close certain conversations, when I narrow your inner circle, do not be quick to assume you are being cut off. I am protecting you from eyes that have no capacity to uphold you, only to judge you. The most sincere words of thanks you offer should be brought to me in the secret place. The tears of gratitude should flow before me, not become a performance for an audience, because there are blessings which, if not received with wisdom, will become bait for pride and grounds for whispers behind your back. Have you noticed that lately some connections have suddenly faded? People who were once close have slowly drifted to the edges. Places that used to feel familiar have become cramped and uncomfortable. You sit and ask yourself what you did wrong. why people have changed their attitudes, why rumors have sprouted from those you thought were safe. Your heart aches. You want to explain yourself, to hold on, to make everything feel the way it used to. But my child, I am making things new. I am not breaking things to leave you alone. I am sifting so you will not drown in tangled ties. In some seasons, the absence of certain people is the answer I am sending you. Even if the word loss makes your heart wince, I know this hurts. I also know you are someone who values loyalty and warmth, who does not easily cut off any relationship. You sit and remember the old memories, the times you were comforted, the moments you held hands and walked through storms together. You say to yourself, could it be that the Lord wants me to be ungrateful? I hear every one of those thoughts, but I must remind you, gratitude is one thing. Giving people the right to steer your future is another. You may be thankful for what they have done, but you are not allowed to let them hold the keys to your life. I alone hold your destiny, no one else. If I see that the presence of someone in this new season will pull your blessing off the course of my purpose, I will gently nudge them in another direction. For them, I have my own plan. As for you, I want to keep your path straight. You will see that the ones who remain by your side in this transitional season are the souls who are not dazzled by your shine, not jealous of your calling, not shaken by the rumors. They do not need to know every detail, yet they still kneel to pray for you. They do not need to be tagged in every announcement, yet they rejoice when you advance. I am gathering such people and placing them closer to you. If you keep staring at the hands that are letting go and keep weeping over them, you will miss the hands I have just placed right beside you. When I take some away, I am also adding others, but your eyes are still fixed on the empty space, so you believe there has only been loss. What I am doing in your life is a cleansing at a deep spiritual level. I am not only purifying the environment around you, I am also washing away the habits that have taken root in the way you build relationships. I do not want you to connect out of fear of loneliness, out of insecurity, out of the need to feel validated. I want those who are allowed close to you to be people I have first touched, hearts that have agreed to walk through fire with me, not souls merely intoxicated with your success story. Otherwise, in time, those very relationships will become the conduit through which your blessing is drained and my name is dishonored. You may say, but I do not want anyone to be hurt because of me. You grow restless, wanting to explain yourself to every person, wanting to hold on to every tie, wanting to keep everyone happy. I understand your gentle heart, but you must not let your niceness stand higher than my word to you. When I close a door, do not try to pry it open with explanations. When I remove someone from your inner circle, do not pull them back in just because you feel guilty. If you keep doing this, you will remain trapped in a whirlwind of emotions, and the blessing I have prepared for you will be delayed again and again. Grace is not bending to please everyone. Grace is the strength to obey me, even when others do not understand. Learn to place your hand over your chest and say, "My heart belongs to the Lord," because that is where the fiercest battle is being fought right now. Your heart is the home where I long to dwell. But the enemy also fiercely wants to occupy that place. He will not come knocking with anything obviously ugly. He will come with thoughts that seem very reasonable. Don't be so extreme. Everyone needs to be considered. Just keep them around. After all, you owe them something. What if you have misunderstood them? He uses these thoughts to make you doubt the proddings the Holy Spirit is placing inside you. He leaves you confused about whose voice to follow. In those moments, return to the secret place. Do not debate with the crowd. Do not seek the advice of those who have no life of prayer themselves. Let me be the last one you ask, and the one you choose to obey. You must remember this. You are not stepping into this inheritance as a hired servant earning wages. You are stepping in as a child entrusted with a portion. I am placing into your hands what I treasure, inviting you to manage it, expand it, and care for it together with me. An heir does not live according to personal whim. An heir lives with the awareness that this belongs to my Father and has been entrusted to me. When you see everything that way, it becomes easier to let go of what does not help protect the shared estate. If a relationship, a habit, or an old promise threatens to drag glory away from me, you will have the courage to cut it off, because you know you no longer live for your own small self. You live for a kingdom greater than yourself. And I want you to hold this firmly in your heart. Every time I allow something to leave your hands, it is not to leave them empty. It is to make room for something greater, purer, truer. Every time you feel you are being stripped, ask instead, Father, are you making space? I do not play games of punishment with you. I am preparing a place. It is only that in your eyes it looks like loss. But in mine, it is the necessary adjustment before the blessing is poured out. So do not resist the spiritual adjustments taking place around you. Do not rush to stitch back together ties I am untying. Do not cling to the way things used to be just to spare your heart from pain. The pain you feel now is the labor pang of a new birth, not the stab of a fatal wound. I am clearing the way so that when you step into your portion, you will not be dragged backward by old entanglements. You are being prepared to live as a mature heir, one who knows how to guard, to discern, and to choose me over comfort. There will come a time when you look back that you will see every soul who remained beside you was a gift, and every soul who left, however painful the story, was part of my plan to preserve you. You will be grateful for both, yet your heart will no longer be bound to either side. And in that very freedom, you will realize that the inheritance is no longer some distant idea. It is your everyday life, walking, standing, deciding, loving, letting go, all of it under my gaze. Then you will more fully understand what I whispered to you from the beginning. I chose you not so blessing could swallow you, but so you could rule with me over the blessing. You were not born to be controlled by what is given to you. You were born to join me in using those very things to bring many other souls out of the place where you once stood. You yourself are the living proof that grace can pick up a wounded person, lead them through fire, cut away the excess, and then place into their hands a share of an inheritance that hell cannot destroy, so long as they keep their heart in their Father's hand. My child, quiet your soul for a moment and let me whisper this to you. What is coming over your life is not just a few small changes here and there. It is a root-deep shift. The inheritance I am preparing for you is greater than anything you have ever dared to imagine for yourself. It will not only touch your finances, it will touch the way you see yourself, the way your family functions, the way people speak your name. I am arranging a new season in which the very things that once shamed you will be turned by me into testimony. Rooms in your home that used to be heavy with worry will receive new atmosphere from my breath. Conversations that used to be filled with complaint will become filled with hope. The way you think, the way you respond, the way you choose, everything will gradually be renewed as I pour my inheritance upon you. Your mind will no longer be a battlefield of confusion as it was before. I am slowly intervening in your old patterns of thought, replacing them with understanding that comes from the Holy Spirit. You will begin to think not as one who constantly fears loss, but as one who knows they have a Father in heaven. You will discover that you no longer ask, "Am I worthy of this?" but instead, "Father, how do I use this in line with your will?" That transformation of thinking is the deepest part of the inheritance, because when your mind is renewed, you will know how to walk in blessing without being devoured by it. The words I am speaking to you right now are not for momentary comfort. They are to seal a new identity in your thinking, that you are not an extra in someone else's story. You are not an outsider. You are a true heir in the Father's house. Your name, which used to be mentioned with disdain, tied to stories of failure, I will gradually turn into a reminder of grace. I am not promising that people will suddenly like you, but I am guaranteeing that the story around your name will be different. When people speak of you, they will not only mention your stumbles, they will have to acknowledge how I lifted you up. Your life will become like a living letter, one I am writing line after line, chapter after chapter, until anyone who reads it must admit, no one but God could have written such a story. I do not erase your past. I use it as the fabric on which I embroider new threads of glory and restoration. If as you are hearing these words, your heart is beginning to tremble, as though something is gently burning inside your chest, that is not just emotion. That is the Holy Spirit touching the very place you thought had grown cold. You are not making this up. I am breathing a new spark into your soul, the spark of faith that your life is far from over, that what I intend to do is greater than what you have lost. When that flame begins to blaze, I invite you to respond not only with a nice-sounding thought, respond with a small action full of spiritual meaning. Right now, as you are watching, I want you to do something very simple that carries the weight of a seal. Press like on this video as a declaration before heaven and earth that you agree with what your Father has spoken, that you receive the inheritance He has promised, that you place yourself on the side of His word. You do not need likes in order to become greater, but you need a concrete action to mark this decision in your own heart. When your finger presses down, it is not just a gesture on a screen. It is a small but sincere response. I stand with what my Father is doing in my life. A tiny movement in this visible world can be a clear message in the spiritual realm. Do not do it out of habit. Do not tap just because others say. Remember to like and share. I am not asking you to do this for an algorithm. I am asking you to do it as a prophetic act, as if signing your name to a covenant. Just as in days past, my people had to apply the blood of the Lamb on their doorposts to mark, "This house belongs to the Lord." So today, this small action is your way of whispering to heaven, "This life belongs to you. The coming season belongs to you. The inheritance I am about to receive belongs to you." When you do it with awareness, your heart is repositioned. You are no longer just a bystander listening to a story. You are a participant in the very story itself. I hear your heart asking, what could be so serious about a single tap? I smile, because I do not look at the tool, I look at the attitude. I see the heart behind the action. To others, it is just an icon on a screen. To me, it is the first spiritual footprint you take into a new season. Every time you choose to agree with my word, you lay another stone on the path leading to your inheritance. Whenever you do something simply because you love me and trust me, no matter how small, it resounds in heaven. Do not despise simple things, because I love to use the small and humble to open the great doors. When you respond in faith, the entire heavenly realm moves, not because I lack power and need your assistance, but because I honor your will. I will not force you into blessings you do not want to receive. I knock, but you must open. I invite, but you must answer. Every decision of yes, I believe is like a strong signal echoing through the spiritual world, letting the angels know this one has taken their place. They are ready. The enemy sees it too, and he understands that it is no longer so easy to push you down as before, because now you are standing on a different foundation, the foundation of a faith that has been tested. Think back on how many times the enemy has tried to crush you. He has used the words of acquaintances, family members, those you thought were friends, to stab the softest place in your heart. He has attacked your body with exhaustion and sickness to make you doubt my love. He has assaulted your emotions, leaving you drained, weary, even at times wishing you could disappear. He has whispered, "Why keep praying? Everything is already ruined." He has pushed you into corners where all you could see were walls, just so you would believe that your future is a dead end. He has twisted every angle just to make you stop, give up, walk away. And yet, look, you are still here. Even when you walked very slowly, even when you could only drag yourself one step at a time, even on those nights when you had no words left to pray except a sigh, you still did not turn your back on me. You still opened your heart to listen. You still had just enough strength to seek out my words. You still quietly hoped, even when you dared not say it out loud. To others, that may look small, but to me, you have won more battles than you realize. You have come through wars that only you and I know about. Every time you chose not to return to old sins, not to quit halfway, not to deny me in your heart. In all those moments, you were sowing seeds of inheritance for yourself. It is precisely because you did not stop that now you are very close, closer than your feelings are telling you. You think you still have a long way to go. But in the spiritual realm, you have already traveled a distance you never thought possible at the beginning. The enemy wants you to believe that your efforts are useless. But I tell you, not one of your tears has fallen without meaning. Not a single day you tried to stand firm has gone unnoticed by me. Not one whisper of, "Lord, I still trust you," has failed to touch my heart. The inheritance that is coming is not because you are perfect. It is because you have clung to me with perseverance, even in your clumsiness and weakness. I want you to listen carefully. Those who do not give up will see results. Those who keep walking, even slowly, will reach the destination. Those who hold on to faith, even as small as a mustard seed, will sooner or later receive the fruit of that faith. This is not an empty slogan. This is the law of my kingdom. I established it from the beginning. You reap what you sow. You have sown days and months of trusting me. You will reap a season of blessing. You have sown long sleepless nights while still holding my hand. You will reap fresh mornings with doors open before you. Today I speak to you with the authority of the one who began all things and is also the one who completes them. What I have ordained for you, no person, no circumstance, no power of darkness can stop. They may slander you, but they cannot cancel the promises I have spoken. They may shut some doors in front of you, but I can open others they do not even know about. Circumstances may delay your steps, but they cannot make me change my mind. The only thing that can make you miss it is if you give up, turn away, and step out of that flow yourself. So, my child, guard your heart. Stand upon my word as someone standing on a solid rock. You have come farther than you think, and the inheritance is nearer than you imagine. Let the small action you take today to believe, to respond, to step in, become a declaration echoing within you. I will not turn back anymore, and I will do the rest. I will protect you, lead you, correct you, uphold you, so that the blessing does not become a chain. It becomes the living evidence that your God always keeps his word. And in the middle of all my warnings about the danger of blessing when the heart no longer stays tender, I also want you to know something very important. You are not abandoned in the middle of human schemes, jealousy, and plots. Even if there are those who sit together just to find ways to bring you down, even if tongues secretly weave stories to stain your name, even if hostile eyes are waiting for the day you stumble, none of these can cross the boundary I have drawn. They may conspire, they may fabricate, they may coordinate to make you hesitate, but they cannot destroy what I have sealed upon your life. As long as you remain hidden under the shadow of my wings, remember this. To me, you are not just a name on a list. You are like the very center of my eye. Whoever dares to reach out and touch you is touching something extremely precious to me. I do not promise that you will never feel pain, but I do promise that every impact is within my permission, and that no arrow can pierce the shield of protection I am holding over you. Just as quiet rivers flow through barren fields, carrying life, moisture, and richness to the soil, my blessing does not come with loud display. It comes as a steady, patient, deep current. I do not bless you so that you alone may enjoy it. I want my presence to overflow from your life into your family, your children, your marriage, your work, even generations not yet born. I desire that your home become like land touched by the early rain, where seeds once thought dead suddenly revive, sprout, bear fruit. I long to see in your family not only abundance of daily provision, but genuine laughter, forgiveness, a peace that storms on the outside cannot erase. I yearn for you to taste a kind of success the world cannot define. Success without losing your soul, having much yet keeping a simple heart, standing at many crossroads yet still choosing me as the main direction of your life. But for all of this to become reality, my child, there is one thing you cannot overlook. You must learn to trust the plan that my own hand has drawn for you. Your life is not a chain of random events, much less a game of chance. Before you ever appeared in this world, I already knew your whole journey. Every stumble, every place you would turn back, every day when you would be too tired to take another step. I am never surprised by any decision you make. I simply wait patiently for you to return so that together we can adjust the missteps, mend the broken segments, and keep leading you in the right direction. But you can only experience this when you decide to place your heart in my hands instead of trying to control everything with your own worries and calculations. I see within you two opposing pulls. On one side is my call, inviting you to rest in the arms of your Father. On the other is the voice of fear, constantly urging you to take care of yourself, to protect yourself, to hold on tightly so you do not lose anything. Whenever you find yourself standing at a crossroads, I still whisper very gently, "Will you dare to trust me?" Trusting me is not about closing your eyes, stepping at random, and hoping everything will somehow turn out better. Trusting me is daring to choose obedience to my word even when you do not yet see the immediate result. Trusting me is daring to accept losing a few short-term benefits in order to keep your heart whole before me. Trusting me is daring to walk the road that few others choose, even when people look at you and do not understand. It is precisely this kind of trust that becomes the key opening the treasures I have already stored up for you in the spiritual realm, waiting for the right appointed time to be poured out. My dear child, when you let me hold your hand, I do not only lead you through smooth, level paths. I will walk with you even when the road is rough, when the sky grows dark, when all around you are the roaring voices of fear. I am not the one who appears only in solemn ceremonies and then disappears in the nights of tears. I am the Father who is there in every tiny detail others consider insignificant. I pay attention even to the silent sighs you do not dare share with anyone. I know every time you try to act as though you are fine while you are empty on the inside. I do not promise to clear away every trial on your path, but I promise to stand in the midst of each gust of wind, to shield you so that no storm will ever be strong enough to tear you out of my heart. There is no adversity I cannot turn into material to shape and mold you. There is no dead end where I cannot open a new way. Imagine your life as a long road with bright stretches and dark stretches, with twists and turns you cannot foresee. If you insist on walking alone, you will stumble over stones I would have seen beforehand. You will wander into detours, running in circles in the dust of confusion and disappointment. But if you allow me to walk beside you, I will show you when to stop, when to move more quickly, when to keep silent, and when you need to speak a clear, decisive word. The wisdom I give you is not a handful of little tips to merely get by. It is a light that reorients your whole life, so that wherever you go and whatever you do not lose your gaze on me. On the days when everything seems foggy and uncertain, remember this: you do not need to see the entire road. You only need to walk in the light. I am shining on your steps today. I invite you to do something the world calls weakness, to lay your worries down, to let them slip from your hands. To me, this is not resignation. It is an act of faith. Every time you decide to set a burden down, you are saying to me, I believe, Father, that you can handle this better than I can. I do not take those words lightly. I treasure them as an offering of honor. I want you to picture every anxiety, fear, and haunting thought in your heart as heavy stones tied to your cloak. The more you clutch them to yourself, the harder it is to lift your head. But as you quietly place each stone into my hand, the cloak on your shoulders grows lighter, and in that very moment I clothe you with another garment, an invisible mantle of peace that guards your mind against the poisonous winds of doubt and despair. I also want you to engrave this in your heart. The words I speak about peace, about provision, about direction for your future are not just beautiful phrases to hang on a wall or recite for a passing feeling. They are living words, a covenant I have signed with my own faithfulness. The success I speak of is not confined to numbers, positions, or applause. It is a life that runs on the right course, feeling complete in me, whether it seems little or much in the eyes of the world. The abundance I long to give is not only in an account balance, it is in the capacity to give. In the joy of sharing, the peace I promise is not a day without problems. It is a heart that remains steady when trouble knocks at the door. These are gifts I have prepared, not that will appear if you become more worthy, but that are waiting for you to return to the true place of trust. And right here in the middle of this teaching about trust, hear what Rosa from San Antonio shared with our team this season. I used to wake up at 3 a.m. every single night with my heart racing. Fear, just pure fear. I could not name it. I could not stop it. After 2 weeks of Elevens, I started sleeping through the night. The fear left. It just left. I wake up now with peace, real peace, for the first time in years. Rosa did not need a doctor to explain to her what was happening. She just stepped into the covenant, and the daily rhythm of prayer rewrote what her nights felt like. The link to step into the same covenant Rosa stepped into is in the description below. It is also pinned in the comments section. Both locations, click it. Do not wait for the fear to grow another night. Do not give the enemy another sleepless 3 a.m. session in your life. Tomorrow morning could be the first morning of the new pattern. Elevens is not a product. It is a channel, a daily channel between your spirit and mine. 1 hour a day, 1 episode. Like medicine, the dose that compounds. 322 seats this month. The counter is moving even right now. $19.99, 80% off the standard $100 membership. Cap of 1,000 total members worldwide before the rate locks back to $100 forever. Season 3, Episode 2, live on elevens.com. The link is in the description. It is also pinned in the comments section. Both locations, both clear. The decision is yours alone, and the decision must be made today. My child, tend the flame of faith in your heart the way someone guards a small lamp on a windy night. Do not let it go out just because of a few sudden gusts of circumstance. Your faith does not need to be spectacular, does not need to shout, does not need to prove itself to anyone. It only needs to be real. As long as you can still whisper to me, I still believe, even though I have not yet seen, that is enough for me to keep on working. I commit myself to you, not in one area of your life, in every part of it, from what people call sacred to the most ordinary everyday matters. There is no corner of your life where I say, you handle this one yourself. I want to step into both your joys and your sorrows, both your successes and your failures, so that in all these places my imprint is revealed through the way you live, the way you respond, the way you rise again after every fall. The love I have for you goes beyond every measure your human mind can devise. You may have heard the words, God loves you, so often that they sound familiar, but I long for you to pause and look deeper. If I did not spare what was most precious, my only son, what would I withhold from you if it truly helps you draw nearer to me? I never intended to leave you standing alone in the battles of this life. There are times when you feel I am silent, but silence is not absence. There are moments when you cannot feel my nearness, but your emotions are not the measure of my presence. I am present through my promises, through the covenant I have made, through every time I drew you up from a deep pit when even you do not understand how you survived. Therefore, my child, choose to trust, not to trust blindly in feelings or circumstances, but to trust in me, the one who has walked with you since your earliest days and will be with you until your final breath. When you dare to place the steering wheel of your life into my hands, you will begin to see my promises shine through the hidden corners of your days, in the work that seemed completely stuck, suddenly opening up, in the relationship that seemed shattered, being restored, in a heart that seemed hardened, suddenly able to weep because it has been touched. The inheritance I have prepared for you is not a distant mirage. It is a real estate of grace in which your name has been written long beforehand. I am only waiting for the day you trust enough, grow quiet enough, and become soft enough in heart to receive it in full. And when you find yourself standing in that blessing, you will no longer fear that the blessing will destroy you, because you will know you are no longer clinging to the blessing itself, but to me, the source of every good thing. My child, what I am about to place in your hands is not a sharp blade to shred your life. It is not a heavy hammer to crush your soul. The inheritance drawing near does not come to grind you down. It comes to lift you up after all the years you thought you had lost for good. It comes like a warm hand pulling you out of the mud of shame, wiping away the tears you never had time to dry, lifting your chin so that you dare to look at yourself again through my eyes. I use this blessing like a new garment to wrap around you, not for display but to cover the torn places of seasons when you were despised, misunderstood, and pushed to the margins. It carries with it the restoration of dignity you thought had been buried, the healing of deep places you were afraid to even name, the vindication in stories where you chose silence instead of arguing. I am not raising you up just so people will be completely convinced of you. I am raising you up so that both you and they will be compelled to be amazed at my kindness. When you enter that season, I know there will be many astonished eyes turned toward you. Some will stand at a distance, unable to understand why your path has shifted so quickly, why doors that once seemed sealed shut now swing wide open, why the one who was once looked down on has now been honored. They will talk, they will speculate, they will try to explain it by your talent, your connections, or some kind of good luck. But only you and I will know that the true turning point did not lie in a phone call, a contract, or a chance encounter with someone. It lay in the very moment you knelt before me, dared to let go of what I asked you to release, and stayed in a place others despised. You will remember clearly the day these words touched your heart, no matter how many years pass, because that is when I marked you. I am here. I am speaking. I am turning the course of your story. I have held your hand through the darkest stretches, so the glory to come is not a spectacular comeback of your own making. It is the proof that I never abandon anything I begin. You need to understand that the inheritance I have for you is not merely a sum of money to ease your worries about the bills, not just a position to make you more respected in people's eyes, not just a few doors of influence so you can have a voice in the room. All of those may be included in the package of blessing, but the true value of this inheritance goes far deeper. It is bound to the promises I have spoken, carrying the breath of the covenant I sealed with you through the cross. Each blessing is not just a random good thing. It is like a document stamped by my throne, like a royal seal declaring, "This person belongs to me. This life is in my hands. This story is not written by human will, but ordained from heaven." Therefore, when the inheritance reaches you, it carries the weight of my righteousness, my truth, my faithfulness, not merely what people call success in society's eyes. You once came to me asking only for enough food. asking only not to be in lack, asking simply not to be in need. In your size, you often asked only for what was necessary, not daring to think about anything beyond the bare minimum. But I am not the one who throws you a temporary piece of bread and then leaves you to fend for yourself. When you ask for provision, I am not only arranging things so that you make it through this month, this job, this project. I am rebuilding the entire picture of your life. I do not only want to give you a stable income, I want to give you the meaning of living. I want you to wake up each morning knowing why you exist, for whom you live, and which Lord you give yourself to. You think you are asking, Lord, let me survive. But I am answering, I want you to live with purpose. You have sat alone many times and asked me, why did these relationships fall apart? Why is my family fractured? Why have the very people I trusted most wounded me the deepest each time? You hoped I would give you a clear answer, a reasonable explanation. But while you only want an answer for your mind, I am preparing a reconciliation for your whole soul. I do not only intend to settle who is right and who is wrong. I want to heal what has been broken, to reconcile you with yourself, with your family, with your past, and above all, with me. There are relationships that will not be restored the way you had hoped, but your soul will be stitched back together in ways you never imagined. There are apologies you will never receive, but I will compensate you with a peace that nothing can steal. You have cried out, please deliver me from this situation, from this lack, from this pressure. You thought a way out would be enough, but I rarely stop at it enough. When I rescue, I tend to go beyond the limits of what you expected. When I pull you up out of the pit, I do not set you back on the edge of the cliff. I bring you into a spacious, safer place, so that you not only escape, but can also help lift others. In the place where you once only longed to be free from shortage, I have destined you to step into a season of abundance. Not abundance for meaningless spending, but to share, to build, to support, to care for those who are going through what you once endured. And all the tears you thought were wasted, I have quietly gathered. And I have decided to multiply what you have sown in faithfulness. My child, when you understand that the inheritance is part of this larger plan, you will look at blessing with a different attitude. You will no longer see it as the result of your efforts. You will see it as a testimony to mercy. You will not use it to elevate yourself. You will bow down and serve. You will stop asking, how can I keep this blessing? And instead ask, how can this blessing be placed rightly within the will of the Lord? Then you will no longer be controlled by the blessing. You will become a wise steward, knowing that everything is only entrusted to your hands for a season, while the purpose and the ownership remain in mine. I also want you to know that there will be people who refuse to accept your change. They have grown used to seeing you as a failure, a hopeless dreamer, someone with faith but not realistic. When I lift you up, they will feel uneasy, confused, even suspicious. Some will say you just got lucky. Some will say you have become pragmatic. Some will cling to your past mistakes in order to deny what I am doing now. Do not let your heart be tangled up by these things. I do not give you an inheritance so you can go around explaining yourself to everyone. I act so that my name may be revealed, and those who sincerely seek me will recognize that this is a story of grace, not of self-exaltation. Precisely in the days when blessings begin to pour down, I want you to engrave this in your heart. I am the one who has walked with you from the very first day, from when you were clumsy, immature, wounded, and weak. I was present in every stumble, in every moment when you thought, "This time God must have abandoned me." If today you are standing in a more spacious place, it is not a sign that you have become more outstanding. It is a testimony that I have never let go of your hand. That very awareness will keep your heart tender in the middle of honor. It will keep you from turning your inheritance into a platform to stand on, and instead make it a bridge that leads others closer to me. Hear me declare it once more plainly. When I decreed an inheritance for you, it was a decision signed with the blood of my only Son, not a temporary favor granted because you happen to please me. What I give is not something people can snatch away, not an opportunity from which someone can push you out of line, even if some become jealous, even if others try to tarnish your name, even if another stormy season rises up. What I have sealed over your life, no one can undo, except you yourself. If you choose to step out of my orbit, that is why I keep calling you, tenderly yet firmly, abide in me, as a branch abides in the vine. When you remain in me, you stand on the path of miracles, not showy miracles, but the miracle of a life being transformed day by day. And from this inheritance, I will then write new chapters that are not only for you. I want to use your blessing to wipe the tears of those who once stood where you have stood, to turn your story into a testimony for souls who believe their lives have been stamped beyond hope. You will look back on the long years of pain and realize not a single moment was wasted. Not a single wound was meaningless. Every hurt, every loss, every time you thought you were falling apart, has become the material for the radiant masterpiece I am painting. And when you use your inheritance not to build yourself a proud fortress, but to open doors and invite others into healing, then the blessing has reached its true purpose. My child, those who lie and wait for you to fall, who whisper, sting, scheme, and calculate to bring you down, they have no idea that at the very moment they think they are winning, I am using their every move to lift you to another level. They think their bitter words will break you. But each arrow they shoot, I pick up and bend, turning it into evidence that my hand still keeps you. They think their plans to erase you will silence your voice. Yet the more they push you into the dark, the brighter you shine. Because I am the one who makes light burst forth in the night, the jealous imagine that if they block your way, you will stop. But they do not know that I have no need of the road they think is necessary. I can open another path right where no one expects it. When they hurry to slam doors shut, I am not at all disturbed. With a single word from me, a new door appears that no one can lock. Remember this, the inheritance I have for you is not built on human words. It is built on mine. I do not speak to amuse. I do not promise merely to soothe for a moment. Once I have spoken, heaven and earth will turn according to that word until it is fulfilled. What I have begun in your life, I do not abandon. I am not like people who speak and then forget, who promise and then change their minds. I am not the type who follows trends, coming when excited, leaving when bored. I am the one who is steady as a mountain, and my word is just as firm. When you look back over the years, have there not been many times you thought everything was over, and yet I opened a new way? Have there not been moments when you thought, this time I will not make it through? And yet here you are, still sitting, still breathing, still hearing my voice. That alone should tell you that I have not walked away from the work I am building. You are a project I have personally designed, and I will not hand it over for anyone to ruin. So even if storms lie ahead, even if the trials before you look far greater than your strength, I am not anxious. You see high mountains. I see opportunities to display my power. You see great enemies. I see them as inflated shadows meant only to frighten you. You tremble as you look at yourself, counting your abilities, your connections, your resources, but I look only at myself, the one who lacks nothing. You think, how can I possibly win this battle? While I am whispering, you do not go into this battle alone. The battles ahead are not arenas for you to prove your strength. They are stages for me to reveal mine. You do not need to strain to show others how capable you are. You need only stand and let me be the one who fights for you. The inheritance I am preparing for you does not stop with your generation. It is like a river flowing through generations. When I touch your life, I am also touching your children, those little ones who may not yet realize they are living within the sphere of this favor. You think you are fighting only for yourself, but in truth you are breaking chains that have bound your family for generations, barriers that held your ancestors in defeat, smallness, and shame. I want to shatter them so your descendants will not repeat them. Invisible curses, patterns repeated in the bloodline. I want to bring them to an end through your very life. This inheritance is not merely a sum of money, a house, a position. It is a new history being written. You will see things that seem dead being raised up by me, relationships grown cold, which seemed beyond saving. I can pour love back into a marriage that feels like mere duty. I can rekindle it with a flame of gentleness, patience, and listening. Families who have long ceased kneeling to pray together. I can call them back to the family altar. The children in your home who have seen you stumble and heard harsh words. I can use the very change in your heart to show them that I am real. The inheritance I give is not only in material things, it is in the reconciliation I bring, in parents who know how to say sorry, children who know how to be humble, brothers and sisters who know how to come to one another in forgiveness. I am also touching the very deep cuts in your heart, the places where you stopped praying long ago, not because you no longer believe in me, but because you are afraid to hope again. You once prayed for someone to change, prayed for a bad habit to be broken, prayed for a door to open, but as the years passed with no sign at all, you put that prayer away into a locked drawer and told yourself, maybe God does not intend to touch this area. You stopped mentioning it, stopped expecting, just to spare yourself the pain of seeing nothing change. But my child, my silence is not a full stop. Just because you see no movement does not mean I am not at work. There are surgeries that must be done very deep and very long, at layers the human eye cannot see. In the same way, there are regions of your soul that I am quietly touching. And when the time is right, the result will appear in such a wondrous way that even you will be amazed. The words that pierced you when you were still a child, words people threw out just for fun, to vent, or in anger, yet stayed inside you for decades. I have not overlooked them. I know every single word. And I will not allow those sentences to be the final verdict over your life. The inheritance I am releasing is not merely giving you more. It is replacing those old judgments with my new declaration. You are the one I love. You are not excess. You are not an accident. You are not a burden. I will use the very places where you were humiliated to honor you in a way that makes people have to admit, only I could have done this. People may think they have shaped your future with a few sentences, but I am the one who has the last word. You used to think inheritance was just a series of financial breakthroughs or a string of job and ministry opportunities. But I want you to understand, the inheritance I give is complete. It is the restoration of your self-respect, the ability to look into the mirror without shame, the freedom to be your true self in me. It is when you can walk into a crowded room without that old voice yanking you back, I don't belong here. It is when you can receive a compliment without needing to exaggerate it and without needing to deny it, because you know where your value comes from. The blessing I give will not make you swell with pride, nor will it make you shrink back. It will help you stand tall, yet still bow your head before me. The inheritance I am preparing is not a temporary patch slapped over a tear. It is an entirely new garment, tailored to the stature I intended for you. I do not stick a small bandage on a wound that is already infected. I want to wash it, to heal it from the root. I do not want you to merely hurt less. I want you truly well. I do not want you just to survive. I want you to live fully. Therefore, the blessing I give will be accompanied by inner transformation. You will not only receive things to use, you will receive the kind of heart that can carry them. And pay attention to this. What I pour out over you is not the crumbs that fall from someone else's table. You do not live off leftovers. You do not eat what others have refused. Your inheritance is not what people no longer want. I give you your own portion, a portion marked in heaven with your very name. The flow I have prepared is not a little stream that easily dries up under the sun. It is a deep source flowing from me myself, the one called the spring of living water. You do not have to run from place to place trying to catch a few drops. When you are in me, I can cause a spring to break forth in your very desert. When everything around you is barren, you can still be renewed, because your source does not come from circumstances. It comes from me. The words I promise you are not dangling in midair, waiting on chance. They rest on the foundation of my very nature. Faithful, unchanging. You change. Others change. The seasons of life change. But I do not. When I say I will be with you, I do not add conditions afterward. When I declare that I have plans of peace for you, I do not step back when you stumble. I correct you. I reorient you. But I do not withdraw my promise. This inheritance is not of the kind that is here today and gone tomorrow. It is a steady process held fast by my own hand. Even when your hand shakes, I do not let go. You may ask, so what do I need to do in all of this? I say to you only this: remain in me. Do not leave the place I have planted you. Keep your heart soft so that when blessing arrives, it does not harden you. Let me lead you step by step. Even when you think you are wise enough already, let me call you back to the secret place. Every time you start to be intoxicated by applause, look back and see how I have walked with you in the past, so that you can believe I will not change in the future. When you hold on to this inheritance, it will no longer be a danger. It will become the road I use to bring you and those who belong to you closer to my heart. And then one day, you will stand and look back over all that I have built in your life. And you will understand that those schemes were never the main story. They were only the backdrop that made my grace stand out. The tears, the long nights, the words people once spoke over you, all of them only deepened and made more real the story of me dwelling in you. The inheritance you are stepping into is not meant to exalt you. It is meant to retell the story of a God who keeps his word, who never abandons, who never breaks his promises, and who always brings to completion what he has begun. When this truth is anchored in your heart, you will walk without trembling before the blessing and without fear of losing it, because you will know the most precious thing you have is not what is in your hands. It is the one who is holding your hand. And right here, before the prayer, hear one final testimony. James from Atlanta wrote, "My business was failing. I had 2 months of rent left and no clients. I started listening to E-Lovins every morning at 5:30 a.m. Within 3 weeks, 3 new contracts came in from people I had never contacted. One said he just felt led to call me. That is not luck. That is God moving through E-Lovins." James obeyed before he understood. The link is in the description below. It is pinned in the comments. 322 seats, $19.99, 1,000 member cap. Season 3, Episode 2, live. Move today. Now with your heart stilled and open before me, turn what you have just heard into intimate whispers, speaking to your Father as the one who understands every single beat within your heart. Almighty God, beloved Father of my life, today I draw near to you not only with my own needs, but also with the hidden fear that if you pour out great blessing, my heart will not be able to hold it. I ask you to guard my heart before you open new doors. Shape me so that I may love the giver more than every gift. Seek your face above all success or reputation. Teach me to fear being far from you more than I fear lacking money, to tremble more at losing your presence than at losing opportunities. When people praise me, let my ears still listen for your voice. When doors open, let my knees bow even lower. Let blessing not turn me into a proud, cold person. Let it become an opportunity for me to humble myself more deeply, knowing I am only a steward and not the owner. Let me live so that whether in high places or low, when people look at me, they can see only one sure thing, that you, Lord, are still my everything. Heavenly Father, you who see in detail every scheme hidden in the darkness, I come before you with my anxieties about the looks, the words, the jealousy, and the envy of people. There are things I have heard that have hurt me, and there are words I have not heard, yet my soul feels them, making me unsettled and doubtful of myself. Today I hand all those human shadows over to you. I ask that my heart no longer be controlled by the obsession of what do people think, but be tied firmly to the truth of what you say about me. Remind me that whoever touches my life with evil intent is touching something precious that you are guarding. Teach me to believe that no scheme can break the plan you have ordained, while I still remain hidden in you. I do not ask you to remove every difficult person around me. I ask you to give me a steadfast heart, one that is not swept into hatred, not controlled by fear, not responding in the flesh, but simply standing still in you to see your hand fight on my behalf. Lord, I thank you because even though I have many times let my heart drift away, you have still patiently waited for me to return. I thank you because you have not blessed me according to my impatient demands, but according to your wise timing. I know that if you had answered right when I wanted, I might have been crushed under things I was not yet mature enough to carry. I thank you for the doors you closed. Though I wept at the time, now I am gradually seeing that they were grace. I thank you for the seasons when I thought I had been abandoned, when in fact you were hiding me from the enemy's sight. I know that if it had not been for the times you held me back and slowed me down, I would not be here today to hear your word. All the delays, the detours, the times I was pushed aside, I now offer them back to you as a song of thanksgiving, because all of them have been in your hands, and not one thing has been meaningless. Loving Father, I am grateful to you for showing me the true face of blessing, not something that comes to take you away from me, but something you use to reveal yourself through me. I thank you that you do not hide from me the subtle dangers of prosperity, but speak to me with both gentleness and seriousness. I thank you for allowing me to experience both days of lack and days of abundance, so that I may know the value of relying on you in every circumstance. I thank you that you do not despise the small steps, the times I trembled yet still did your will, the times I chose to refuse what seemed good simply because it did not bear your mark. You yourself have seen and kept all of these. I thank you that you care not only about what I do for you, you care about me, the little child who is often tired and afraid, yet still wants to love you with all the heart. I offer this prayer in the holy name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My beloved child, before you close this video, hear the final decree from your Father. Heaven has been recording every moment of this last hour we have spent together. Now comes the seal. Share this video with 3 souls today, not tomorrow, not when you feel like it, today. This is the 4th and final time I will say it, and the 4th time carries the full weight of finality. 3 souls, the number of the Trinity, the number that activates a triangular covenant of protection over you and everyone you reach. There is a brother somewhere right now whose breakthrough is waiting on you to forward this link. There is a sister somewhere whose marriage is waiting on you to send this message. There is a stranger somewhere whose entire life will pivot the moment they press play on this video because you sent it to them. WhatsApp, Facebook, text, church group, family chat, every channel. Send it through every door you have. Souls who share, accelerate. Souls who keep it for themselves, block. Choose acceleration, choose obedience. 3 souls. Send the link the moment this video ends. Heaven is watching and heaven is rewarding. And finally, my child, do not forget to subscribe to God's Love Unlimited. Turn on notifications so the next divine word that comes through this channel reaches your screen the moment it is released. We are building a global household of believers who listen before the world drowns out heaven. Be one of them. Subscribe. Stay close. And the link to step into the Elovin's covenant remains in the description and pinned in the comments. 322 seats this month, $19.99, Season 3, Episode 2, live. The door is still open. Walk through it today. I love you. I have never stopped loving you, and I never will. Amen.